The Great Christmas Morning Rush. On the night before Christmas, a blanket of snow covered the world in soft white sparkles. The North Pole was bustling with excitement. Elves packed the last of the presents, sleigh bells jingled in the frosty air, and Santa Claus, big and jolly as ever, was almost ready to begin his magical journey. But delivering gifts to every child in the world is no small task, and even Santa needed a moment to rest. Just a quick nap, he thought, sinking into his cozy chair by the crackling fire. His boots were still on, his red coat draped over the armrest, and the glow of the fireplace flickered across his rosy cheeks. Outside, the reindeer stood ready, their breath forming little clouds in the icy air. The sleigh was packed to the brim, every present sparkling with anticipation. Time ticked by, the fire crackled softly, snowflakes swirled outside, and Santa slept. It wasn't until the sky turned a pale shade of pink that Dasher, the fastest reindeer, noticed something was wrong. He stomped his hooves and snorted, nudging Donner and Blitzen awake. They looked at the sky, then back at the sleigh. Something was missing. Santa! With growing concern, the reindeer peered through the frosted window. Inside, Santa was snoring gently, his head tilted back and his belly rising and falling in peaceful slumber. The reindeer exchanged worried glances. The sun was starting to peek over the horizon. Comet tapped the window with his hoof. Tap, tap, tap. Santa didn't budge. Prancer tried a louder approach, scraping his antlers against the door. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Still, Santa snoozed on. Finally, Rudolph, with his bright red nose glowing like a beacon, dashed inside. He pranced around Santa's chair, huffing and puffing little clouds of reindeer breath. He nudged Santa's arm, a gentle push, then a firmer one. At last, Santa stirred. "Oh dear me!" Santa leapt up, his eyes wide with shock. He glanced at the clock on the mantel. Christmas morning was almost here. Presents still needed to be delivered, and children all over the world were just moments away from waking up. In a flurry of action, Santa threw on his coat, grabbed his hat, and tumbled out the door. The reindeer cheered as Santa climbed into the sleigh, his hearty laugh echoing through the crisp morning air. On Dasher, on Dancer, on Prancer and Vixen. With a lurch, the sleigh soared into the sky, snowflakes swirling in its wake. Over rooftops and through the clouds, they raced, faster than ever before. The reindeer's hooves glimmered in the sunlight, their bells ringing like joyful chimes. Santa reached into his sack, tossing presents down chimneys and through open windows with incredible speed. The world below began to stir. Lights flickered on in houses. Children stretched sleepily in their beds. And still, Santa and his reindeer pressed on, their shadows skimming across rooftops and snowy hills. Just as the sun climbed higher into the morning sky, Santa leaned back with a satisfied sigh. The sleigh was almost empty. Every gift had been delivered, or so he thought. Suddenly, Rudolph's nose began to glow brighter than ever. The reindeer stopped mid-flight, their heads turning toward the back of the sleigh. There, nestled in the corner, was one tiny wrapped present. It had a green ribbon and a tag that read, "For Timmy." Santa's eyes twinkled with surprise. "We can't forget this one," he thought. Without a moment to lose, the sleigh spun around in a loop-the-loop, dashing back toward the small house where Timmy slept. The sun was rising now, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. With a final swoop, Santa dropped the little gift down the chimney just as Timmy's alarm clock began to ring. The sleigh shot back into the sky, the reindeer laughing and jingling their bells in triumph. Santa chuckled, his belly shaking like a bowl full of jelly. They had done it! The presents were delivered, and Christmas morning had been saved. As Santa and his reindeer soared homeward, the world below burst into life. Children unwrapped gifts with squeals of delight, families hugged, and the spirit of Christmas filled every corner of the globe. And in one quiet little house, a boy named Timmy found a gift with a green ribbon and smiled, never knowing just how close Santa had come to being late. High above, Santa leaned back in his sleigh, breathing in the cold, fresh air. The reindeer's bells jingled softly as they flew toward the North Pole, the sun rising behind them. After all, even Santa deserves a little nap, but maybe not on Christmas Eve.